Israel News. Nikki Haley in Israel. Iranian, Russian, Chinese support Hamas massacre, kidnapping. Last weekend, Nikki Haley began a week-long solidarity tour to Israel. After arriving, CBN News joined her in southern Israel to witness Hamas October 7 damage. Haley met with journalists and stared on her trip and U.S.-Israel relations. "I usually advise people in Israel to kiss the ground for me because I believe it's sacred," Haley said. "We must remember that October 7 is not sacrosanct. The October 7 event was horrific. What happened on October 7 is unforgettable. A vacant lot in Sterret houses the police station. On October 7, terrorists took over the building and killed all police personnel. Israeli soldiers had to demolish the building to kill terrorists. At the site," Haley said, "we want to see a partnership between the United States and Israel that's unbreakable because we know we have the same enemies." Sterret Mayor Alon Davidi welcomed Haley and promised to resume the Gaza conflict. "We will defeat Hamas. We will rescue the Gaza prisoners and transform the future for us and our area. We must be strong. And your presence makes me joyful. I understand you back Israel. You love Israel and the Jewish people," Davidi informed her. Haley and her husband Michael started the day at kibbutz Nir Oz, one of the hardest-hit villages last October, hosted by Knesset member and former Israeli ambassador to the UN Danny Danon. "As we traveled through the kibbutz," she said, "we saw home after home with intact walls. But every house we entered was a nightmare because you witnessed a family fighting for survival." She added, "People should never think of what happened in those homes in that neighborhood. They burned alive. They were dead children. Raped women. All that in house after house. It was obvious they knew what they were doing." The Haleys met a Nova Music Festival survivor during a dust storm. "All I could think about was my kids, because my kids might have been there that concert," Haley said. "You saw a lot of kids who should have been having fun, listening to music, and appreciating life. They heard gunshots and saw parachutes appear suddenly. Soon, they were terrified." Haley told her Israeli brothers and sisters that Americans would mourn every death and fight and pray for the release of all Hamas hostages. "But I'll tell all Israelis, don't listen to media bites. America backs you. Americans support you. We connect. The October 7 incident wounded us all. It's still personal," she said. 1,200 horrifically slain. 8 Americans were hostages, and 32 were Americans. But those numbers blend because we're all in this. The former UN ambassador thinks Hamas wasn't the sole massacrer. "You can tell this took years to plan. Make no mistake. This is one of the most terrible atrocities I've witnessed, heard about, or seen." Who she feels helped Hamas was then named. Iran orchestrated it. It received Russian intelligence. Chinese money fueled it. Recognize that China has always funded Iran. Russia's intelligence pinpointed everything, Iran trained them. So, not Hamas. Haley said the battle is against Israel and America. "These brave Israeli warriors fight America's enemies. They said more than death to Israel. They say, death to America. That requires awakening." In an apparent dig at the Biden administration and European foreign policy establishment, Haley stated, "This isn't going to go away by some political deal. This won't disappear because someone wants it to. This will end only when we face the truth." Haley thinks the U.S. must choose between emboldening Israel and the terrorists. "If there was ever a time when we required unity between those countries who believe in freedom, democracy, and trust in life, this is that time," she said. "There is no gray between Hamas, Iran, the Palestinians, and freedom-loving citizens who seek peace." She demanded world allegiance. "My side will be the one that knows that to achieve moral clarity, we must speak for the voiceless. For those who cannot fight, we must. This massacre and kidnapping were unwarranted. But this must never happen again. If we're arrogant enough, this may happen in America too. And that's the lesson." She concluded, "I hope everyone removes that.